episode 41 of the Planet Nintendo podcast. Let's see what's on the menu. Some more Switch hacking talk. We're always going to bring that up. Day and date releases. Again, this feels like a flashback episode. Crash and Spyro just got some remake love. What Nintendo games could get remade? And also, the 3DS successor. Apparently, it's not the Switch. So let's get started. What's up, dudes? Episode 41, and like always, I am joined by the best co-host on the planet, Joe After Work. What's up, man?
Yo, we were just talking about this before recording, but it really feels like it's been forever. I'm like, oh, I miss my weekly talk with Pat.
I know. Yeah, we're doing this one late. 41 episodes, man. It's crazy. It just keeps getting.
It does not feel like 40 at all. Like I feel like we're still like just starting. Although it's still early for a podcast, but like it doesn't feel like it's been this long already that we've actually known each other. Like this is awesome.
I love it. So I gotta ask Joe, any games you've been playing? Any new ones?
Any new ones? Well, for the third week in a row. No, I am still playing that game though. But oh my gosh. Yuso, we were lucky enough to
That's right.
get a copy of. But before we talk about that, Barack Fu came out as like a DLC to the physical version of Shaq Fu. It's just as absurd.
Oh my god.
Crash Bandicoot.
So how do they know like who got the physical or not?
I mean, I guess it has to read the cartridge, and then the cartridge has that update. I guess it's really weird how that's all gonna work. I'd imagine the digital folks would get it at some point, but
yeah,
physical was more. So I feel like that's pretty cool that they got that incentive, but at the same time, feel bad for like the folks
random.
who bought it digital. Yeah, I know it's really random. Oh, what else? Crash. Anima Arcane Edition, Wolfenstein 2. Oh my god.
Oh man,
dude, amazing. It runs on Switch, and it looks
nuts.
great. Like, yeah, you can tell where they made graphical sacrifices, but that's not stopping me from playing this game. Like, the game still looks amazing, plays good. I'm glad that they added the motion control from the start, because that is something that I had gotten used to towards the end of Doom. And
okay, nice. They put that in.
Yeah, it's in there from the start. Like, the game just plays well, and that's all I can ask for. And the story is just like, it hits you like right at the start. They give BJ Blazkowicz like a whole other level of another layer to the onion, which is like, oh my god,
nice. As far as Switch games, I picked up Breakfast Battle. It is a brick breaking game.
Wait, what?
I don't know if you can see it there. It's like a pink logo. Breakfast Battle.
Okay.
It's also available on mobile, but it's one of those games where like the ball comes down, you move the platform, and it bounces off.
Like brick. Yeah. Like brick. Like what you were just saying. Sorry.
Such a fun game, man. I think that's like $10.
Brick is classic, man.
Yeah, dude. And there's not a lot of games like that anymore, so like pick that one up.
So cool.
Yuso, which we'll get to in a second,
yeah.
but
hold on, folks. He's got something.
We got a new console to play with. I know that this is a Nintendo.
I knew it.
This is a Nintendo podcast, but one of my buddies, actually Dave, he was unloading a bunch of his stuff, so I got it for super cheap. But that also means that Crash and Wolfenstein 2 I got on the PS4.
That's fine.
Yeah, it came with Crash, but
it's $20, dude.
Yeah,
you're saving money.
My 90s inner child is like exploding. I put in Crash, man, and I'm just like, oh my god. So,
oh god, I had that same reaction, but it was more like a, oh my god.
I feel like it's either way. We'll get more into that as well, but yes. I feel like we should highlight Yuso a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So the developers reached out to us. I think they watch the podcast quite frequently because they knew us from the podcast.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was a really nice email.
Yeah, man. So Yuso, that is actually coming out
Thursday.
So yeah, when this comes out, you just have to wait a couple more days. So let's get into this a little bit because it is kind of a simpler game, and it's also available on mobile. So I mean, you guys can buy it on mobile too. It's not
okay. So it is. I was like, it seemed like it, but I didn't want to like say anything.
Yeah. I think it's day and date too. I don't know. I could be wrong about that, but Yuso, it does support touchscreen as well.
How I played,
and basically it's really addicting, man. I played like a straight, like, it's like 30-minute bursts. I picked it up like 2 or 3 times, and yeah, what do you think about it, man?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think first off, like, it's not something that's gonna like. We're not talking about something that's gonna like completely, change the puzzle universe or anything like that. But it's a solid puzzle game. I played it on touchscreen. It's a game that like you were saying, Pat, like you were on and off on, in and out of the game. It's the perfect like getaway from other games that you might be like crazy intensive with. But it does require some thinking as you get into some of those harder stages. Like, I'm only like 30 stages in or something like that, and I'm already starting to be like, okay, wait, what? And I'm like having to like rewind again, which I think that's pretty neat. That you have like you don't have to start over from the start. You can like go back a couple steps and go ahead and pop a bubble and see if that works. Like, I guess we should explain what the game is. There's like you're going across all the planets. Each planet has a different god or something like that along the lines, and each thing has this thing called Usos, and you have to like make them all disappear. But they're, as you go into more and more levels, they have different color Usos. Think of them as like Puyo Pops, and they have different colors, and when you pop one that might be blue and they're next to yellow, if you when you're chaining them, they always have to be like, there has to be a minimum of 2 that you have to hit in order to pop them, and you have to get them all popped, all gone at the same time. So there can't be not one on the screen, or else you don't pass the stage, and that's where the challenge comes in.
So like if you pop one, the one near it will, if it's the same color, will explode too.
Yes.
So like you quickly realize like, damn, that was the wrong move.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, you can hit B, and every time you hit B, it goes back one like touch, I guess you would say. So it's forgiving in that way, but it definitely makes you think like, all right, what if I do this? What if I do this? I believe it is $7.99 when it comes out.
Question. I can pop it up on the eShop.
Yeah.
But yeah, Vertical Reach is the company, so thank you out to them, and they're out in Portugal. I looked them up. I want to say it's a 2-person team from Portugal, which is, I mean, again, it's just another small crew of people just trying to bust out a good game. Here we go. I got the coming soon loading up here, but shop now, right?
Yeah, it's a nice pick up and play game.
Yeah, it's either $7.99 or $9.99. It put purchased on mine because I did the code.
Oh, okay.
I forgot.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
I might wait for. I would say wait for a sale. I would put it on your wish list. I think it's worthy of that. Wait for a sale, or even get it on mobile, because I could definitely see that being preferred.
I agree. I can see that totally being on mobile, as like, you're on the train, boom, bust out your phone, pop, 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 pop,
Yeah, definitely. But thank you guys over there, and
thank you.
If any other people are watching, we do like to highlight different indie games, so send us our way. I think on Twitter I have all the links and stuff. But yeah, let's get into the first topic here. Let's
I'm like reading the email and not the topics that you put over.
I'm trying to choose which one. Okay, let's talk about the hacking, because we brought up a couple times different aspects of it, but let's see this.
And again, I mean, I condone certain parts of hacking, but not like, the stuff that will be harmful to the community and to like personal intrusion, but it's kind of neat when you get to see things like, hey, I made this game and it's, it might not be up to spec on the eShop, but it's a solid game, and they make it on a homebrew or like backup saves,
Yeah.
which we'll get at some point. It's taken a turn, and it's kind of a interesting / scary one from both ends. More so on how it's being gone about. There's the cartridges that you can set up to do. I guess you set them up to boot up the software, and there's companies that are selling that. And I guess there's also like I don't know if there's fake games yet being made through those cartridges, but we all know that there's the thing with the pin that you can slide in to like enter the hardware of the Switch, and therefore you can do your jailbreaking and stuff like that. But now there's cartridges as well that can kind of either do the same thing or basically another way of hacking into the Switch. And what Nintendo is doing is there is a certificate on every cartridge that they can read and shut that cartridge down and basically block it from being used. So one, that's a little scary and Big Brother-ish. I get it. Like that's their property and they don't want it to be like, if they can find ways to prevent their system from being pirated, then that's their prerogative. But it is still a very creepy thing to me. That is just like, it's there, they read it, oh, you're online, forget it, you're done, boom.
So this isn't just like retro stuff, this is like new games like being pirated and stuff.
Yeah, so like there's ways to now get into the eShop and see games that are already booted up on there prior to release. So like, how we get like review codes for this, like there's ways for people once they hack their Switch to get into the eShop and download those same games to their Switch, which is nuts. My thing is though, with all this hacking that's going on, and we've seen fake cartridges in the past before, fake games, all this stuff, when it comes to the Switch, how do you think Nintendo's gonna like process fake games that eventually come out and someone buys it from a GameStop at some point? Because we all know that's gonna happen at some point. Someone's gonna try to trade that in, and it's gonna go through because it has happened to me before, and it has happened to a ton of people in the past.
Damn.
They pop that in and their cartridge is invalid. Like, what do you think goes on from there? Am I being too insane? Am I being
I mean, that's unfortunate. That's the unfortunate part. It's unfortunate for the people that are buying physical games in the first place, because usually they're at a premium. Like that's the highest you're gonna get them. I would love to see Nintendo bring down the hammer though, like in the hardest way possible. The Reggie hammer. It's just, I mean, it's one thing to hack a console when it's done with its lifespan, like PSP, perfect example, and things like that, man. But a current console, like, that's stealing. That's theft, man. Yeah. You're stealing games from, especially like, what if like 100 people downloaded, USO, like that studio would, gone. Yeah, they would definitely feel that. So I hope they come down hard, man.
And I mean, and also I feel like they're doing the right thing. It's scary though to like, one day I'm gonna go into a GameStop, maybe get a pre-owned game, and then I put it in and just no, you're done. You're done, son.
I know, and then you could say like, oh, maybe they should up the training for GameStop people, but it's so difficult to spot that, and that's scary, man.
Do so much, and I mean, eventually when the day comes, I'm sure MJR will probably end up doing a video, because Kelsey Lewin does an awesome job at like doing these like how to spot fake tutorials. That's how I learned how to do it with like the 3DS and the DS ones, because those run rampant. It's like, it's nuts.
Now they're already doing things like for hacked, like people that like hack Splatoon and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like,
and Mario.
They're banning people. Yeah. So it seems like they're not playing around, and they shouldn't, because this is like pretty much their only console right now, if you think about it. So
yeah. I mean, somehow, some way, they're still selling 3DSs, but
And then your other topic, I feel like we've talked about this before, but
dude, time and time again. But it was
yep.
like with Wolfenstein 2 and Crash coming out, I feel like this has to be the final time that I talk about this and hit my it keeps hitting the nerve where okay, so Wolfenstein 2 came out, great game. I talked it up. Even on my stream, I was like, the game's half price by now on PS4 and Xbox One, so I can't fault anybody for one, being impatient, or two, just waiting for a better deal to come out and picking it up on those consoles. And whatnot. I purposely waited for the Switch because I was like, I'm gonna hold out. I'm gonna wait. I had some weak moments where I almost bought it, and then I was just like, no, we gotta stay true. I gotta do this. Patience, Joe. But $60 for a physical that also has an additional download. When I looked at the digital version of that game, it was like 21.8 gigs or something like that, almost 22 gigs,
which is still impressive. Like that's compressed to a degree.
That is compressed, but also they couldn't fit that all on a card. They couldn't go for the higher card. Like, come on, dude, you're killing me here. Like, this is the same thing with Mega Man Collection 1 and 2, where we got a digital code for that game, for the second game, that they could have someone, I feel like, and again, I don't mean to badger and like make, accusations on like, oh, this is easy, that's that, but someone couldn't make a launcher to just be like, okay, boot up Mega Man Legacy 1 or 2 on that cart and then just go
that's
into
like
that
what
game?
A gig.
Like, dude, I it still boggles my mind. I get it, cost savings and whatnot, but oh man, it's getting to that point where it's just like, all right, you know what? I think I need to start voting with my wallet with even this stuff now. Like, I've treaded back on some of the stuff that's been being ported over to Switch, and like I'm not going everything willy-nilly at like when it comes out. I'm waiting for some of the sales on some of these games, or just not picking them up whatsoever. I might already own them on another console or PC. With like Yeez being the exception, that I waited, and the game is still $60 on PS4 and PC and whatnot. Like, Steam sale had it for $53. Like, that's $7 cheaper than what its original price is. It's like, all right, cool. At least they're keeping to their price range and not lowering it 2 months out. My thing is, we're getting these ports. We're still getting them at full price. Spyro's on the way, and this is going to lead into your topic. Not for Switch yet, but it's coming out, and if and when it eventually hits Switch, like, how many more times are we going to have to deal with us getting the games on this console, months to a year out, a couple years out maybe, if we're lucky.
One of the weird things, like, sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're good.
I don't know, like, I feel like this didn't always, I can't even speak right now. This wasn't always the case, but Wolfenstein 2 is already like $20. Even like, yeah, dude, and like, even like Horizon, like, I know that we were comparing Breath of the Wild to Horizon, everyone was doing that. Horizon is $20. Like, I bought it for like $15, I think. So it's like, I don't know if it's more of Nintendo games holding their value, or just like third-party games just depreciating like really fast. But it's also like Crash came out, and that was like total fan service. A year later, it doesn't have that much of it. Like, it doesn't have as big as an effect. It's cool to see on the Switch, but like, for me, I mean, I just got the PS4, but that's how I played it as a kid, with like PlayStation controller, D-pad and stuff. So that's more nostalgia. But something like Wolfenstein 2, although I've heard great things about it, that's a tough sell because it's a single player only experience, no multiplayer. So, I mean, on one hand, you could be like, oh, it's just a single player game. I don't need the best performing version. But then again, it's just like, you're probably going to run through it 7-10 hours maybe. And then like, it's always the constant struggle of portability versus performance. That's the main thing. And if you have other consoles, that's a tough sell for me. Like Doom and stuff like that.
Especially with the graphical hitches that some of the games might have. And I haven't bumped into any yet with Wolf, but I'm still very early on, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, and I don't want to go off tangent because you had mentioned something that's really interesting and related to Ys actually. But to stay on topic, for me, I just don't feel like we're ever going to get to that point where we're going to have everything simultaneous release. Last year I thought, all right, yeah, maybe in a year or so around this time we had this conversation the first time, and it's like, you know what, it's still early, everyone's learning to Switch, but it's like more and more we get deeper in, I'm like, I don't see it happening now. I really don't see same day, especially with that cloud version of Resident Evil 7 was really like the first thing that I was like, okay, this is interesting. That's gonna, it's running off a PC that's got the specs for a Switch, running at 720p. That's how it's being streamed out to those who are able to play it in Japan. The people are already trying to find alternate ways to get some of their previous games. I don't think they're focusing on the new games. Like, the closest we got was Dark Souls Remastered, and even that got delayed. Like, I was just like, yeah, all right, we're seeing this all fall apart here in front of my face now. And
bad.
It's not bad entirely. I see it from a business perspective. It's bad. It's bad in the sense that, like, we have to wait longer and we're being punished more unless, you own another console and whatnot. Like, we're fortunate enough to have other consoles to play it. I prefer to play it on my Switch, and I really wish a lot of these games would come out at the same time. But with that said, it's like, I feel like some developers are just purposely holding out because when they have it out on the other consoles, they'll get people to double dip on the Switch version for the portability sake, and also, for the fact that it gives it a second breath of life with them being able to sell it at the highest value as opposed to selling it discounted.
There can also be something said that, like, when Wolfenstein 2 was being made, I don't necessarily think that the Switch was a thing or in mind at the time. Same thing with Crash. Like, I don't think one of their top priorities was, like, I think it was like PlayStation and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I honestly didn't even think that was going to touch Switch.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. And so I don't know. There's something to be said. Like, I think there is still some, like, let's wait and see period, because a lot of these games that are coming over, like, aren't, like, brand new. I mean, Wolfenstein 2, like, just came out pretty much, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, like, future releases, but it is discouraging, man, seeing, like, other games for, Xbox or PS4, like, on the shelf months and months, and you're like, I know that's coming, and, like, I don't know, I can't recommend the Switch version. I mean, I can go, like, Nintendo fanboy over here, but it's just, like, logically, price, like, a lot of people are price, they're sensitive about that, so it's like, how am I going to recommend a version that, it runs portably, but it's twice the price, and, it's lacking some features sometimes, so...
But yeah, you mentioned, like, how games, some of it could be delayed, and, it could be a good thing, or you said something along those lines, and maybe I just construed my head, but with Ys in particular, and I hate that I keep bringing it up, but it's the game that's, like, right here on my shelf the last 3 weeks. That game came out on PS4 and Vita last year, and it got some good reviews, but you didn't hear anybody talking about it the way it was talked about when this game got released on Switch.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I feel like it got put on a pedestal when it launched last week, and everybody was, like, talking about it, and some of it was mixed, a lot of it was positive, though, and that's a good sign that, like, games like that are there's a market for it on the Switch.
Yeah,
depending on the genre.
Sometimes it's better to wait too, because I still feel like the Switch probably has the best version of like Yooka-Laylee and like Crash Bandicoot. There was like a comparison of load times. The Switch is like 2 times as fast for load times. It's pretty crazy. For Crash.
Oh, for
The load
Crash.
times. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like that loaded fast.
Sometimes it's better to wait, and sometimes you get the bugs out there. But I do agree, like you get that second wave of PR and stuff like that. So it's good for developers that might want to do that, and that's maybe why they do that. I don't know, but yeah, yeah. The Switch does have a very healthy user base though, and they do support games that they want to play, and like something like Crash or something like that. That's a Nintendo friendly game, so I feel like that's gonna sell well. I feel like it will. Okay, and staying on this Crash talk, I like it. I wish 10-year-old Pat was here to talk about it. So Crash and Spyro, well, Spyro's coming out soon, but they both got complete overhauls. I'm talking fan service, like exact to the original games. There was some talk about, why didn't they fix some aspects of it, like the camera angles and stuff like that. But I feel like at that point you're taken away from the original game. Mm-hmm. My question to you is, which Nintendo franchises would you like to see get that treatment? These 2 games right there, masterpieces, man. Like, I'm not saying these games are incredible, but like the remakes are really good.
I feel like Guru should be here for this conversation because I'm too nice to say what I want to say about that game.
The remake quality, Crash is a mess.
The remaster, like graphically, oh my god, I'm surprised how amazing that looks on Switch. Like, I was blown away. But man, does it feel like I'm playing a game in 1996 just with updated graphics. Like, you compare it to like a Mega Man collection where, like, okay, you're playing the original Mega Man games. They're gonna have glitches and whatnot, but like, we're talking about a game that got remastered. You telling me that I'm riding the hog and I can't jump over the dude until I'm exactly at a certain frame hitbox that I have to jump over him, and then there's the bongos, and I keep smacking into the bongos instead of like, I know I jumped onto the like, bro, come on, man, I'm done.
It's a mess.
It is a hot mess. But I want to play Warped because Warped was the one that I really liked. It had Tiny the Tiger. I loved it. With that said, remasters. Oh my god. I thought about this. I would love to see Golden Sun get a remaster, just like overhaul that. I feel like that's a game you can either do one of 2 things. You can make it like a traditional Final Fantasy game where, at the overworld and whatnot, you can walk around, make it like style, or actually, sorry, like the game coming to Octopath Traveler sort of design, or you can completely overhaul it, give it a Breath of the Wild look, but have it be an open world game where collecting your Djinn and all that stuff and going town to town, trying to actually link the 2 games, make it together, because originally that game was supposed to be instead of 2 games, it was supposed to be 1 game, but the cartridge was so the game file size was so big they couldn't fit it, so they had to split the game in 2.
Damn.
Yeah. So that would be that's number 1 on the list for me. That
would be good.
Yeah.
I was thinking Star Fox, just for the trilogy aspect. I try to like slip that in there. No, I'm a Star Fox fan, but that'd be cool to get 64 Assault and maybe like Adventures or something like that.
Assault underrated.
Assault's good. Yeah. It would be nice to get an F-Zero. I don't think we're getting F-Zero like the next game, so maybe like a remastered. GX was really good. Yeah, because like PS4 got Secret of Mana, and there was mixed reviews on that. It pretty much just got a graphical overhaul and stuff.
Like, they had the characters talking, but like they still stayed with the same smile or like frumpy face that they had when they were talking. So like someone would be like yelling really happy, and they'd be like, I'm like, wait, what? Those of you listening, like, I just made a frowny face and after saying something really happy, but it, it was so bizarre. It wasn't like a terrible remake by any stretch of the imagination, but like there's some things that could have been thought out a little bit better.
Yeah.
Or just, keep it as the original and just let people play that one.
There's also another conversation that I was kind of saying earlier is like, with remasters, should it just be graphical things, or should, I mean, I know that they do like lighting and stuff like that, but do you think mechanics should be changed at all, or like to be brought into this time?
I think if it's to fix certain things that either not necessarily broke the game, but in this day and age, let's probably the first example I can think of is Crash, with some of the stuff in certain levels where like you're jumping over certain objects and it's just like, in today's day and age of platforming, we can fix that to make it a little bit more smoother. And I get keeping sort of the nostalgia towards certain things, but there's a way to keep that stuff and make it, and let it be. And then there's other things that are just like, all right, this definitely needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a give and take, but completely overhauling the mechanics of certain games, I think at that point you're treading, depending on what you're touching. If you're doing a complete overhaul, then yeah, we're talking about remakes now. But if it's like to touch up a few things here and there to make them work a little bit more smoother, then I think that can be implemented into a remaster for sure.
Yeah, and I can just hear people screaming right now. Yes, a Mario collection would be incredible. 64, Sunshine, like maybe both of the Galaxy games or one of them or something like that. You gotta think that would be like the best-selling game ever.
Oh my god, I've seen like the Unreal Engine from Mario 64 stuff. I forget his name, but oh my god, dude, some of that stuff just looks so good. It's like, please, Nintendo, Unreal Engine works on Switch. Xenoblade Chronicles was Unreal Engine. Like, come on.
Yeah. It's gonna
Nintendo, come on.
It's gonna be interesting though, because there's been a lot of talk of Skyward Sword and Ocarina of Time. So, I hope we do get it. I like remasters personally. I think they're cool. Total fan service.
Oh yeah, at that point, people would eat that up. Do you think they do that over giving us not virtual console? Sorry, that's a dirty word, but
retro games.
Yeah, there you go. Retro games. Like,
I think remasters and remakes are hot right now. I think they jump into it, and there's a lot of good games. Yeah, there's a lot of good games, man.
There is, man. Freaking, I would replay the Metroid trilogy if that got remastered onto Switch with like that. And there you go. That's a thing with perfect example of updated controllers where you're still keeping the motion of like from the Wii versions of those games and just updating them for the Joy-Cons.
Yep. Or you scrap that garbage motion control and it
was only bad because of the freaking IR sensor, man. Like, I tried even with I tried with the Wii U gamepad, and even that, like, I'll get the jarring the thing where it just janks and just starts to veer off and go this way when I need it to like really work and aim at an enemy, but it is what it is.
And then the finale here, we have our new boy. I don't know if he's our boy yet because we haven't really hung out with him much, but Furukawa, the new Nintendo the new Nintendo CEO, is starting to voice some of his thoughts and opinions out there. And he basically mentioned that Nintendo is considering a successor to the 3DS that is not the Switch. So I'm not going to be as harsh this time because we'll voice our opinions. But Joe, first thoughts on this, that pretty much the Switch isn't in the plans to be Joe's beloved 3DS.
I love you. Oh, it's okay. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You're good. You're good. Just not going anywhere, 3DS.
Hold tight.
Hold on tight. Hold on tight. That makes me excited. because you think about it, it's like, yeah, you can, at that point, that means if we just eliminate 3DS or handheld, specifically handheld only gaming, that's a whole other revenue stream just completely gone from Nintendo. Yes, the Switch is a hybrid console, but it's not the end all be all. Like, this is just one piece of the ecosystem. And for me personally, like, growing up Nintendo, I knew Nintendo through Game Boy. I knew Nintendo through Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, DS, Like, that was my bread and butter right there. I played Super Nintendo. I played NES, but, like, that's home to me. So it's like, the fact that we could be getting another portable gaming console down the future, I'm all for it. I'm like, I hope that, whatever it is, I'm not gonna have to carry a 3DS and whatever that is. Like, I can be able to, like, carry on over the I hope they keep the dual screens. I've grown to really like that a lot. I think it's something that's unique, and yes, they've been able to implement some of that touchscreen stuff to Switch, but there's just something neat about the way the DS, the dual screen setup, goes with that. And I don't think we're done yet really getting all that we can out of that particular game style. I think there's definitely new new ways, new methods that could be implemented somewhere down the road. And if that is the case, that they end up, coming out with something fresh that isn't called 3DS, that isn't called 2DS, I'm all for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to agree. You hit it on the head. You can't just rely on the Switch. That's a very bad thing to do, because you're relying basically on that library. You're also relying that people are going to spend that premium price for younger kids, and that's the big thing, because I know people that are still conscious about spending $300 so that their kid can have a console that, let's be honest, it's not the most, it's not totally steady. I can see this thing being, this thing is pretty delicate, man. So I think I would welcome a new handheld. My only thing with this is, and we're starting to see this with the end of the 3DS, we're starting to get, like, filler games and just games that are put on the 3DS.
Remasters.
Yeah, exactly. Just put on the 3DS for just to have games on there. And we're getting, like, spin-offs and remakes of Luigi's Mansion. Why would you ever do that? And just weird titles come. And if that's the kind of product that's going to come to this new handheld, I wouldn't be for it. And also, the biggest handheld game ever for Nintendo games, Pokemon, is now coming to the Switch. So are you going to make a lesser version to be on that, or are you going to make just spin-off games for Pokemon? So that's my only concern, the software part. Because, like, who's gonna pick a lesser version of Pokemon when you have, like, a beautiful HD? Because I'm just like you, man. Like, my first introduction to Nintendo was Game Boy Color and stuff like that. Like,
you brought up a really good point with the Pokemon, and, like, does that mean we get, if this handheld thing happens or they continue with the 3DS, whatever it may be, we already know that they're not doing mainline Pokemon for 3DS anymore, but if they come out with a new handheld, do they make a lower res version of, Pokemon for that new handheld console?
Yeah.
And it's like, it sounds crazy to think that, like, if there's a new handheld console, people are going to want to get that one. But it's like, I've had people in my streams where I'm playing Fire Emblem Warriors, I was playing Hyrule Warriors, and people were coming in saying that they're playing it on the 3DS version because they don't have a Switch, because it's too expensive for them, and prefer playing on that 3DS. Or the occasional, I do get the occasional Wii U people jumping in, like, that Wii U support is still there.
Oh yeah, dude.
So it's like, it's crazy for us to think, but it's not too crazy for other people out there that are still playing on these consoles and want something new.
And that's the thing, because you're going to need software to be like, okay, I'll put down my 3DS, I'll buy that. And one way to piss off the Animal Crossing community is to lock an Animal Crossing game on there.
Dude.
And it's going to be interesting to see if what kind of backwards compatibility it has.
Yeah.
Is it going to be able to play 3DS games? That would be a big selling point for me.
Yeah, dude, I would love to just continue to not have to, carry another type of cartridge. Please.
Yeah. But I don't know if they continue the dual screen, man. I know this has been a big thing for them.
I mean, it's not the end of the world if they don't, but man, I've grown to like it. Like, beginning early on, I was like, oh, why does my GBA only play on the bottom screen? Like with the DS Lite and all that.
And here's something for you. What if this new handheld just played retro games? How would you feel about that?
Man, talk about a cash grab. That's a total cash grab. Dude, if it only played retro games, I would probably buy it and never touch it just to have it like as a collection thing.
They're gonna get criticized either way. Like, they're gonna be like, why isn't that game on the Switch? Why isn't that game on the 3DS? Like,
I just thought of something.
Uh-oh.
If we get this, that means more 2D Metroids.
Ooh.
It gives a home for 2D Metroids. It gives a home for more side-scrolling Mario games. Like, it gives all those...
Top-down Zeldas.
Yep. It gives all that stuff a home. I'm sold. You sold me, Patrick. I
like
even know if this is
I didn't even have to do anything. Yeah, I would welcome it. I would also welcome a Game Boy 2.0, but that's just me. It's going to be interesting. That's the part that I'm more concerned about, is the software and the quality of the software. I think that's everyone's concern, but the price, what do you think the price is going to be at? Because the Switch is $299. There is a portable version, I think, in Japan coming out for what, like $250?
I think.
And the 3DS right now is still what, like $200?
150.
150.
It has dropped down. Oh gosh. Yeah, I think I paid 150 for my Sims. Maybe that weird 179 price. Like, I don't think it was 200.
Yeah. I know the 2DS, the new 2DS XLs are 149, and then the 2DSs are 79.
You are right, though. Yeah, it is 199. Sorry, I was looking it up while I was waiting for it to unfreeze.
Okay.
So yeah, you are right. It's 199. Wow, that's crazy. That's the Galaxy one that I'm looking at.
Oh, okay. Right, yeah, so the one with 3D.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's gonna get confusing. Like, there's a way to market it, but like, I'm just imagining the parent going in buying the new Nintendo handheld for their kid, and then they get this because someone wanted to upsell the Switch over.
Because it's already confusing. Like, I've personally been in the section, and the parents, it's just always just parents like talking to the guy saying, oh, well, you can get the 2DS, 3DS, and they're just like, I want just the handheld. And it's just like, do they get rid of the 3DS SKU? That's why I'm saying like the 2-screen thing might go away, because they have to make it somewhat different. You have to know what you're getting. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
Single mini screen. Remember when we used to think that there was gonna be a Switch Mini?
I'm doubting it more and more. Although it would be cool, man. Like pretty much like a Nintendo PSP.
Yeah,
but you can't sell Joy-Con.
Slide it up. You got your keypad right there.
There you go.
Sidekick.
But I'll probably jump on board with this. I'm interested to see the software. And I don't really, I mean, I use the Switch as a handheld, but it would be nice to have something else, especially if they're going to make like 2D Metroid and stuff. Like, definitely.
Yeah, we're acting like the thing's already out, and we're like, ah!
Yeah. But it's going to be, especially if it doesn't support anything else besides, like, let's just say it's Game Boy again.
Mm-hmm.
If it only works with new Game Boy games, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
That's going to be yeah. But I think that's all we have for today. Episode 41. We got through it, Joe.
I know, right? It was like you guys won't see it on the edit, but oh my god, the the freezing, the hiccups. Discord, please.
Yeah, I think it might be that plus it is literally like 100 degrees out again.
Yeah, man, it's bad.
Yesterday was 106.
What?
106.
Dude. This was there when I got home today. But and it's like, I think we're only at like 95 degrees over here, but still. And
Bad.
Just put in the AC yesterday. That was a mission and a half.
Jeez. But thank you everyone for watching. Joe, where can they find you, man?
Twitch and YouTube, both Joe After Work, no E.
Sweet. And you guys are already here. We will see you again next week. Add me on PlayStation NintenTalk, and we will see you later. Peace out. Preston.